officially my first German guest, and I wanted to appreciate your humble efforts in the community of Power BI, especially in German community. Most of your contents are in German language, and I must use the translation button. But I'm so honored to be your host here in 5 Minute BI, Marcus Wegener from Germany. All scene is yours.
Okay, thank you. I want to show you a special trick. The point is that you have an analysis services in the background of Power BI and also in the service. And so you can load the data. It's something you can do, that you can import data from a data model which already exists on the service. So you can import the data from an imported data model. And normally, if you go to the option that you want to connect to Power BI semantic model, you get a live connection. Okay, I want to show you a special trick. In this special trick, I want to connect to a Power BI data model which already exists in the Power BI service and use this data as import for another model. It's something you can use if you are on a low budget part and you don't have a warehouse but already have prepared data in a semantic model and want to reuse it. And yeah, there are some things like composite models, but they are not so because of this direct query part, they are not so good like an import to data. And so I want to show you this on my screen now. I have prepared something here. There are two files. They are actually empty. I use the light mode and dark mode, so can you divide these two desktop files. And I already have loaded a small contoso data set here in my Power BI service. So the one thing you have to know is that under the hood, under all the Power BI things, we have this funny thing, or this old funny thing, the Microsoft SQL Server Analysis Services. So everything you do in Power BI use this analysis services. There is the tabular model inside of this. And so we can use this database to connect to this database and query this data. To start with this, I want
It's also known as SSAS.
Yeah, that's it. And so we start with getting data from our Power BI service. So we use Power BI service semantic model. I connect to this data model, which on the service, especially for 5 minutes. So I say connect. And we will see that we have now here all the data that's in the data model. And here we see we are actually connect with a live connection to this Power BI model in the Power BI service. When we go to the model view, we can see a short overview. And here on this table, we can see that this connection is a SQL Server Analysis Service data source. And we have the server string and the database name. This information we can use to go to another file and say, okay, we want to import data. And we say, okay, it's an analysis services as data source. Then we have to enter the server name. So we go over to the other screen or the other file, copy or mark the server name, and you can't copy paste it, but you can drag and drop it. This is funny. So I just handle over to the other file and drop this. And so we have the server information and we use the database information. One special thing is that this is not the XMLA endpoint. It's the normal connection string you use in Excel or some other tools. So you need only build permission on this data set to make these queries. If you use or we want to import the data, you can't go with this to the next step. You have to enter a DEX statement, but it's very easy. You have to type evaluate, and you have to name the table you want to load. Here's a product, should be a product table, and press OK. Normally, you would get a window which asks for your credentials. Use your Microsoft account to connect to this database on the service. Then you get a preview of the table, and you can say load. And now we get a query which is referring or querying the data from your existing data models. You now see we have imported these rows. Here it's query 1 with all of the fields.
Is this feature available on all versions, or it's need a specific version of Power BI?
I think you can go with Pro. If I show you here, my workspace is a normal Pro workspace. The only thing you have
it needs a normal Pro.
Yeah, a Pro account that you can normally, if you work with a workspace, connect to this workspace, to the semantic model, and you can load this data. You can also work on this part because we are in the import mode. So if you want to rename these fields, I know you can make it, can use some Power Query functions to rename all these header fields because the table name is in front of this. You can rename this query so that you get the product thing. But it seems to be very handy if you have already maybe prepared product table in your data model and you don't want to re-prepare this data. Yes, you can use data flows on it would be another tool, but I think it's very interesting to keep in mind that the background of the Power BI is just an analysis service database with a tabular model on it, and yet that you are able to connect to this database via Power BI desktop and can re-import this data again to your model.
It was great to learn that.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it was good. It was so clear, it was so clear, and I'm shocked. You're the first guest to finish in 5 minutes, I haven't used to it. Yeah, it was great. And I'm surprised, Oh, one of guests finished in 5 minutes. Here we are. Thank you, Marcus. Thank you for accepting my invitation and being on 5 Minute BI and joining us here tonight.
Yes, thanks for you for the invitation.
I want you to promise me that we could have you in future in more 5 Minute BI episodes, Okay. You really understand the meaning of the 5 minutes.
Yes. No. Yeah, I really like your idea. I really like short videos and saw this to reduce information in a very snackable videos or tutorials.